Look around you. Your phone, your laptop, even the car that will one day drive itself. Everything depends on a piece of technology that is as valuable today as oil was in the 20th century, the microchip. And most importantly, this is no longer just about technology, it's about power. But this isn't just technology, it's power. Imagine a silent battlefield with no visible weapons, but with an enormous prize, control over the key technology of the 21st century. That battle is happening right now in the world of semiconductors. Chips aren't just electronic components, they are the backbone of artificial intelligence, autonomous vehicles, the devices we carry in our pockets, and the entire digital infrastructure. That's why the race to dominate them is intensifying like never before. In 2025, the semiconductor market is surging again, driven by AI and the expansion of data centers. Sales no longer depend solely on PCs or smartphones, they are rooted in something much deeper. Who controls the design, manufacturing, packaging, and the global value chain? And let's be clear, if a country or a company controls that process, it controls the future. That's not an exaggeration. So the question is no longer just who makes the most chips, but who defines how they're made, where they're made, and under what conditions. In this contest, the blocks are lining up. The United States has imposed export controls and launched its Chips and Science Act, a historic $280 billion package that includes more than $52 billion in direct subsidies to desperately attract megafactories to U.S. soil. China, meanwhile, is not standing still. It is pushing its own industry through its massive state fund, which has already raised more than $90 billion across multiple rounds to achieve its ultimate goal, technological self-sufficiency. At the same time, the European Union is responding with its own $43 billion CHIPS Act. This is a subsidy arms race, and the implications are not just economic, but strategic. Chips have become a weapon of national power. History serves as a warning. This is not the first time geopolitics has been fought in silicon. In the 1980s, panic spread through Washington. The U.S. industry was being decimated. Japan, thanks to an aggressive state strategy and companies like NEC and Hitachi, came to control more than 80% of the global DRAM memory chip market. American companies like Intel were on the brink of collapse in that sector. Washington accused Japan of dumping and felt it was losing the next technological era. Tensions escalated until the 1986 agreement that forced Japan to open its market. Today, when we see the United States using similar tactics against China, it's impossible not to notice that history is echoing almost perfectly.
When we look at today's map, the supply chain is not just concentrated, it's terrifyingly fragile. For example, Taiwan, through TSMC, manufactures more than 90% of the world's most advanced chips required for AI. South Korea dominates nearly 70% of the memory market, and a single company in the Netherlands, ASML, holds a 100% monopoly on the extreme ultraviolet lithography machines needed to make those chips. Think about that for a second. 90% of the brains of AI and 100% of the machines that create them concentrated in two of the most geopolitically complex points on the planet. It's a vulnerability that keeps military strategists awake at night. But this frenzy carries a risk. With so much money flowing, the line between a strategic bet and a panic-driven bubble becomes blurred. Every country wants to be the leader, and that leads to massive investments. What happens if demand for AI cools, or if the supply chain is disrupted? Lessons from the past remind us that semiconductor manufacturing is a long-term race. We could be heading toward a scenario where billions of dollars in public money are burned on duplicated factories, and where the desperation to be first outweighs the logic of being profitable. So who will come out on top? The answer isn't simple. Maybe no one truly wins, but the real loser will be whoever falls behind. In this new era, not participating in the semiconductor race is not an option. It's the equivalent of deciding not to have electricity in the 20th century. So the next time you hear chip war, remember, it's not just about a component. It's about the DNA of the future. It's about who controls technology, who sets the standards, and who has the capacity to respond when everything becomes digital. And thanks for making it this far. See you in the next one.